actually starting the Italian Grand Prix in the RPS F1. Maxime Rodriguez back on pole position, got a great start on Francesco Lago. Le Pen will look for that space to attack for the lead of the race as well. He's now side by side with Lago into turn 1, as Rodriguez is ahead of everyone into turns 1 and 2, peacefully leading. We've already got yellow flags in sector 1. I hope this is all due to the fact that everyone has to go 30 km per hour in order not to crash with each other. Everyone's going, apart from Siep de Mangle, who's 4 seconds behind now, as Diogo Moraes, who's moved cars mid-race, has gone ahead of Kalle Pulkkinen into 6th place. Kalle Pulkkinen losing 2 places on the start of the Grand Prix, and losing a 3rd one to Ludwig Stabek. Haas drivers doing great one today, as Kalle Pulkkinen loses another place, this time to Jirko Barros, at least with side virtual safety car. Joshua Evans now ahead of Pulkkinen. Pulkkinen having disaster over the first 2 laps, as Diogo Moraes on the 5th place, looking for a move on Francisco Lago. Everyone is setting a fastest lap as Diogo Moraes makes a move on Olano to 4th place. Wonderful stuff as he goes down the inside of Le Pen. What a move that is from the Haas driver. If that worked, that would be one of the overtakes of the season. The Mangle and Goyert both crashed at the same time. Who's going to the pits now? This is the question. We've got a collision. We've got a second collision between the houses. Someone has faked the pit entry. And we've got a third collision between the houses. And Balgos goes ahead of Moraes. Safety car for a very late. Ludwig Stahlberg goes to the pits again. Overtook everyone and made another bit of chaos in this restart. These are some very interesting tactics, to say the least. Rodriguez keeps the lead ahead of Pulkkinen and Lago. Lago and Le Pen, I believe they will go for that move on Pulkkinen sooner than later. Yellow flags, that is Zanetti. And Nikolaidis loses a place to Balgos in the 7th, but we're following the top 5. As Pulkkinen might be eager on making a move on Rodriguez. Not a disaster of a start, but on the restart he might go for a move into the lead of the Grand Prix. From 4th to 9th to 1st. Rodriguez goes off. He goes a little bit off, but keeps the gap to Pulkkinen. We're still following from this camera because this is wonderful. As Pulkkinen, you can tell how close he is to Rodriguez and how close the drivers behind him are. Lago and Le Pen. And I think that Pulkkinen is going for a move on Rodriguez. He's got that lower wings and he's using overtaking race mode, but he's backing out. Rodriguez is making space for Le Pen, supposedly, who goes up 2 places on Kalle Pulkkinen and Lago as well. Rodriguez weaving a little bit, using that bit of ERS. Lago goes for a move on the inside into Parabolica. Rodriguez having a little bit of an off-going in the Parabolica exit is now behind Le Pen, and Le Pen takes the lead, but Rodriguez is not going to give this one up. And they are 3 wide into turn 1. This is scenes already. Rodriguez on the outside. On the inside we've got Le Pen, and Lago backs out of it, but Le Pen doesn't. He fights will to will with the Alpine. We've got yellow flag somewhere. That is a Mercedes of Jeziorny. But we don't really care now. It's Lago and Le Pen, the championship contenders, are still will to will. And now Le Pen is trying to take the lead from Rodriguez. This might be a freeway situation. No, Lago is just behind. Rodriguez is back into the lead of the Italian Grand Prix, but Le Pen goes for a switchback. What a move from him yet again, and that makes it Lago in the 2nd as well. So Rodriguez was first for the full lap and then lost 2 places in the fight between these 3 drivers. Le Pen and Lago, now with the risky strategy of the mediums, kinda early to be fair, will now try to save them until the end of the race and sort it out between each other. As Balgos makes a move on Pulkkinen. Pulkkinen again losing place on his old hard. Moraes goes for a switchback on Goring, which is wonderful. DRS is enabled. Goring is going to settle behind the Haas driver. And now the Haas driver goes ahead of Michael and Gelgen. Currently, I believe, 6th in the standings. Le Pen goes for Le Pen is losing a place to Lago as well. And Moraes goes for late braking into turn 1. And that should make him ahead of Gelgen. No, he's side by side still. And this time, Moraes goes ahead of the Mercedes driver into 9th place. Moraes has won the championship in this car in the Haas back in Season 7, and now he's making overtakes in the Haas in Season 10 in his first race in the Ero since Season 9 Japanese Grand Prix. Olano loses a place to Evans. Evans into 4th place in the Alpine. The F2 driver has still got it, and Evans will now chase down Rodriguez into position number 3. And I think he's not backing out of it. He's using that ERS. He doesn't care about Rodriguez being their full-time driver, and he goes ahead of his today's teammate into 3rd place. Rodriguez and Balgos are trying to make a move on Evans. These are absolute scenes around Monza. As he awaits Balgos to make a move on Rodriguez, nobody's backing out here. Not like Le Pen and Lago, who are using tactics because they are they are caring about the championship. As Engelion gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We've seen a little bit of a contact, and Aston Martin goes wide. And there's a spin, a heavy crash of Conor Ryan. Don't know if there was a contact there, but Bergmeilander is caught on track again. Balgos stays out with Olano to take the lead of the Italian Grand Prix. Well, I don't think anyone's going to the pits again, apart from Dia, who's on the south. Balgos, what are you doing? This genius is going to the pits again, and they are making a double stack. The Ferrari are going full Ferrari today. He's just about starting. Again, the Italian Grand Prix is the third restart. We're having 11 more laps of racing, and I want to see some great action. Will the two Italians up front deliver it? As Lago is chasing down Olano and will try to make him off as soon as possible, because he doesn't want the hard runner ahead of him when he's on the new mediums. Well, he's not making it into turn 1. Nobody is making it into turn 1 so far, apart from Rodriguez on the Penro a little bit, but that was just a little bit of a look. Now Lago is using a bit of his power. Now he's side by side with Olano into Grande Corner. This long right-hander provides some great will-to-will racing, and this is one of those. As Lago goes ahead of Olano, and Le Penro goes ahead of Olano as well. Moraes will probably also go for him with Olano as well. The hard runner's strategy did not really pay off so far. As Moraes goes for him on the Aston Martin, I think the Aston Martins will swap places. Also, Moraes is going wide. How the communication goes in the Aston Martin, and I think that goes really well as Olano lets Nicolaides pass in order to chase down the top 4, as he's also part of the championship halfway through the season, ladies and gentlemen. Panos Nicolaides, the driver on the controller, by the way, has got one and only podium this season, but will be definitely chasing down more as he's got the chance now, as he's part of the top 5 race. Or Caleb Lukinen will go for a move on him. They are side by side into the Grande Corner now. Panos Nicolaides is slightly ahead. Zanetti is out. Safety car again. Lago goes again, and Lago leads this restart. Le Penro trying to catch the slipstream. All the drivers try to catch the slipstream. How powerful this slipstream is, as Le Penro goes will-to-will with Lago into turn 1. And they are not giving it up. They are not both backing out. Le Penro has the inside line, takes the lead of the Italian Grand Prix. Rodriguez, actually that is Evans, going up into 5th place. Rodriguez also into 9th. Bagos into 7th. Lago is currently lost a place, and now he's chased down by Diogo Moraes and Panos Nicolaides as well, who is also busy fighting Evans into De La Rocha chicane, and I think that Evans tries to go for a move on Moraes as well. Moraes is forced off. That is definitely a penalty without mitigating factors. Moraes loses 3 places in this, at the end of the day, and could regain 1 on Pulkkinen. Well, definitely Balgos is not making a move, and he isn't. But Moraes lost 3 places, and now he's being chased down by Rodriguez. Balgos lost 2 places in the process. Rodriguez goes for a move on Diogo Moraes, who lets him pass. Decides not to care about the fighting stuff. Better to stay behind the soft runner and hope for something to happen. Rodriguez really close to the Finnish driver, but I don't think it's enough to make a move. As Pulkkinen is the one about to make a move on Nicolaides into turn 1, and I also wondering if Josh Evans is going to be overtaken by Pulkkinen. No, Caleb Pulkkinen is not that brave and not that bold. But he's going side by side with the Aston Martin. Yellow flags, the reason Jericho Balgos being spun around. Nicolaides is the place. Nicolaides is another place to Rodriguez into Grande Corner. And now Rodriguez uses all of his power down the inside into De La Rocha chicane and should be ahead of Caleb Pulkkinen. Rodriguez, well, he's into the inside line into turn 1. Also makes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Has DRS on Lago, and I think he's going for it. Ludwig Starbeck makes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as Le Pen covers the inside line to not let Maxime Rodriguez pass. And Maxime Rodriguez is left off with nothing but staying on the 3rd place. In the meantime, Engelion, has gone up to 4th place. And Le Pen is almost side by side with Lago. I don't think he's giving this one up. Actually, he's giving this one up, backing out, thinking of better opportunities, because he was not using full throttle into Grande Corner. And Lucas in 4th, that is Engelion, who was spun around probably by Goyard at the beginning of the Grand Prix. Now he's 4th, we know that he's got a time penalty. As Le Penro goes for a move on Lago, and Rodriguez goes for a move on Lago as well. Takes the lead of the Italian Grand Prix. They are side by side into the first 2 corners. Rodriguez now ahead of Le Penro again. And this time he's on the lead of the Grand Prix. He's got that pole position point, and now he leads this, leaving Le Penro and Lago to fight for the 2nd. Le Pen should just go for it, and he goes for it into turn 1, does not give this one up. Rodriguez got no ERS at all. Lago will probably go for the move as well into turn 1, but Le Pen now stays ahead of these two drivers. Rodriguez keeps himself on the second. Lago will make a move on him into the inside line into turn 1. He does so, and I think the Italian should be right ahead. No, Rodriguez keeps it well. Le Pen is on the way to win for the second time this season, as Lago is sliding a little bit. Rodriguez forcing him a little bit off on the outside line, as we've also seen Kalpukin and Moraes will to will. Rodriguez loses a place to Lago. Now it's between the two drivers up front and also the two championship contenders. And Garen goes for a move on Rodriguez into Ascari and makes it stick into third place. It's one more corner left for Aurelien Le Pen, who has got troubles drive-through in Spain and a bit of a weak performance in Netherlands. Now he's finally going to win in the home of Tifosis at Monza, and although he's not retaking the championship lead, he still wins, gets the second W on board ahead of Francesco Lago and Maxime Rodriguez, who are arguably the three fastest drivers in this division right now and entirety of Ero. Dugo Moraes jumps into 4th place in his PSF1 return, as Karl Bukinen is on 5th. Then we've got Michael Engelien, Panos Nicolaidis, Federico Orano, Jan Goring and Ludwig Staubeck rounds out the top 10. we've got a real championship fights in Season 8 and Season 9. But the conclusions weren't the ones that we wanted them to be. Now, with Season 10, we've actually got a chance. But it all depends on Francesco Lago now. Because he's got 20 points of a loss behind Aurelien Penru in the championship, who's chasing his third title of Ero PlayStation F1. The gap is very close. These two drivers are pretty much level on the pace. So it all depends on pure randomness how the championship is going to be concluded. So, thing is, my name is Wojciech Śmigowski. I am the owner of European Racing Organization, the actually best PlayStation F1 league, and would be PC if not for certain reasons, and also PS1 commentator for Season 10. Now, thing is, as I told you, the championship battle is really close. The qualifying has started in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, in the circuit that has the most corners of them all in Formula 1 calendar, with staggering 27 of them. Even Singapore has less now, as the circuit has been rebuilt in the third sector. But Jeddah wasn't, apart from the curbs being green now. Although I still love the 2021 version of this circuit. This is still fine though, this one, current one. Anyways, it's time to move on to the track, as we've got 18 drivers on the grid today. Possibly 19 if Maxime Rodriguez sorts out his issues. But as you can tell, more and more drivers are coming out of the garage and no rain is predicted, otherwise we would have everyone on track already. Why do I speak about rain? Because we've already got it 5 times this season in qualifying sessions. Now we enter the desert part of the race, basically the Middle East one, where the rain is highly unlikely, if actually if any possible, but it's Ero F1, and as Antonio Vise, who is not racing unfortunately today, has said, well, it shouldn't be raining, but it's Ero F1, so it as well could. More and more drivers are coming out of the pits. We've only got 4 garage sitters at the moment. Both McLarens, Morgan Mathieu and Panos Nicolaides, said that it's better to currently chill, wait for the drivers to make their laps while there is a mess on the track. It's one of the first drivers to make a lap is not Francesco Lago, who we've just seen, and he's been overtaken by none other than Michael Engelian, who is going to take us around the Jeddah circuit, the Corniche circuit, one of the newest ones in the Formula 1 calendar. Not newest anymore because of 2 certain American circuits in big cities of Miami and Las Vegas. Anyway, let's go on as we're approaching the main straight. We're already in it, but Michael Engelian, who's got 3rd place in the championship in Season 9, now approaches turn 1. Bit of a smooth there. It's been smooth with 2nd and 3rd gear, because the one is actually the slowest one in the entire track. Now we're entering the section of a couple of really quick corners where you can almost go through throttle most, if not all of them, apart from this right-hander, as Michael Engelian sets a benchmark of 32.0 as a benchmark in Sector 1. We'll see how Francesco Lago does later on, as he's just behind the Mercedes driver. Michael Engelian now goes through the hairpin, which is one of the most spectacular points of this circuit. Now we're entering the another chicane of right and left, where you actually have to go very close to the wall, just like in any other part of the circuit, maybe apart from turns 1 and 2. As Michael now approaches the 3rd sector, I haven't seen the lap time. I haven't seen the time of it, but Michael is still going really quickly there. There's only a hazard ahead of him that can stop his lap, but I don't think it's happening. That's Morgan Mathieu. Michael Engelian now rounds the final corner, and as he's not a rateable driver, he actually can go through it without crashing into the barrier. And now he's going to set a lap within 27s, 27.4, as El Cardia already got a bit of a knowledge of this track and how hard it is and how challenging it is, because this is the fastest street circuit in the world, as Ludwig Starbuck improves that lap by over a second, and we know he can basically pull out a P2 out of this, as this is what he has done in Dutch Grand Prix. Marco Bottas sets at 27.5. We've got Jacob Tucker in Sector 2, looking for more drivers about to cross the line, and one of them is Alessandro Zanetti in Sector 3, who's got a podium last week, 3rd place, could have been 2nd if it wasn't for a desperate dive into the final corner of Rivata and soaking wet Imola, as Lepenro is 40 milliseconds behind Ludwig Starbeck, and Diogo Moraes is 48 milliseconds behind Ludwig Starbeck in provisional pole position. More drivers are crossing the line. One of them is being Duncan Falcon, who jumps into 6th. Look how beautiful this looks, as unfortunately Morgamati violated that, but we've got 2 Red Bull drivers, then we've got 2 Ferrari drivers, and then we've got 2 Mercedes drivers who are topping the standings, as Jacob Tucker decides to separate them all with a 4th place, 26.8. This circuit is so challenging, will not be surprised about the gaps in the qualifying results, as Carl Pukin is going smoothly through Sector 1, negotiating it pretty well. No major issues, but he's 2 seconds down on the best lap time, and I see that he's not using full throttle. This might be a problem. We'll see if this is tactical side of an issue, or is he just not accelerating at all. Yeah, he's not accelerating fully, I don't know. This might be down to some technical issues. This doesn't look the best. Now he's using it all, now he's not. Don't know what's happening there, because Jacob Tucker doesn't need to have a slipstream right now, as he's on the in-lap. Mercedes is now approaching slowly. We'll see if there's anyone on the lap as well. One of those drivers is Leon Baumgarten. Got a 5th place around Imola last week, being probably his best result of Ero F1 career. He's never been on a podium in this division. He's got a couple in PSF4 though. The German really close to the barrier. Like, you can't get closer without colliding with it. As he navigates this chicane really smoothly as well. Again, close to the barriers. He's going really quickly there, using DRS now. We'll see what is his lap time going to be so far. It's 1 minute point 1. And I think we can go below it. Very close to the barriers there. Like, you literally cannot get closer than what Leon is doing. He almost hits it. Actually, he might have hit it once or twice with this sort of driving really close to the wall, as his teammate separates the Mercedes drivers on the 8th. All of the top 7 is in the pits, and Leon Baumgarten goes ahead of Duncan Falcon to get into 7th place. The only driver who is on the lap now is Panos Nicolaides, and then we'll have a bit of nothing going on. There are 2 drivers on the out laps and 2 drivers on the in laps, but the track is definitely quiet as of now, as drivers are preparing themselves for the second runs of this session. Panos Nicolaides is about to cross the line, and he's done an 9th place with 27.4, which is pretty solid, but still a second off for current pole position lap time. As Panos hits the curb, and I believe we will see this multiple times today. This one on the exit of the right-hander is really challenging. If you're just about to touch it, it could be fine. But if you touch it just a little bit more, you will not be fine, because you will basically be sent off the track, and you have to do a rejoin, which will most likely be an unsafe one. Because you're basically there's no return route. And you might just turn back onto the track in the middle of a fighting, possibly a 3 wide, which is with what we've seen a couple of times already. There was a 4 wide, by the way, in PSF2 yesterday, and they all survived. This proves enough of racing standards. Although, this race is always chaotic, regardless of the skill level around Jeddah. So, I see an Alpine being stopped there, and I don't know what this guy is cooking. Marco Botta, about to start a lap, decided to actually stop on the track and cool down his tires, but we'll see how he navigated the Jeddah Corniche circuit. His first lap was 27.5. He starts his second run. looking for more drivers, maybe about to complete their laps. One of them is Michael and Gallian, 85 milliseconds up on his lap time. Not enough to get anything over P9 as of now. It all depends on the final 2 corners, where there's a bit of a traffic, to be fair, with 3 drivers just staying there, but all of them are starting the lap. So Michal is about to cross the line now, and I think he should be improving by over a tenth regardless of the traffic ahead of him. And he does, by 4 tenths. We get into 7th. How did you get 3 or 4 tenths up there? 3 actually. In a single section. Another driver on the lap, and one of those drivers on the traffic was Ludwig Stabek, currently on provisional pole position. Ludwig Stabek's on fire in qualifying sessions. This is not the first time he's doing this, as I told you. 2nd place in the Dutch Grand Prix in qualifying, and later on in the race being his first Ero F1 podium. Well, this is a result of his qualifying pace, which he nails it pretty much. Now almost goes off. We'll see what is the gap between these 2 times. It's 72 milliseconds up for the Haas driver, so we might be seeing some improvement there. Maybe even go into 24.2. That's possible, but we have to see 2 more sectors, and I don't really want to jinx anything, but Ludwig Stabek still goes really well, uses the full throttle, where I wouldn't go over 80%, so that speaks itself. Ludwig Stabek now on one of the longest straights, which is a bit twisty. We'll see what the gap is. It's 89 milliseconds, so we're definitely in the freeze. It all depends on the final sector, and he's going really well indeed here. We might see another better lap time as one of the Red Bulls is crossing the line. We'll see if it's Le Pen or Moraes. That is Le Pen in 2s. So I think Ludwig Stabek, it all depends on the final corner. He hits the barrier, but thankfully no damage there. He should still be improving. He's using DRS power, and he's going to 26.3, exactly a tenth behind Le Penru, to keep his 2nd place as of now. As Nassim Aznit has gone into 0.4s, that makes him 3rd. Drogo Moraes is 2 tenths up, so this is the final corner for the Red Bull driver, and I think we might see a new provisional pole position right here. It all depends on the final corner, and it was pretty well done. And I think Moraes is going for the provisional pole position, and he is, with 26.1. Will we see 25s today? That is the question. Well, Drogo Moraes definitely doesn't help his teammate solidify the championship lead. As Francesco Lago, I don't know what's happening there, but the guy is still in the pits, and the guy is without a lap time. Is he doing a last to first challenge? We're back on track with Diogo Moraes, but I believe we should switch our attention to someone who is actually on the lap, and that isn't Jacob Taka, I believe. As Alnetti hit by, was 2 milliseconds down on his lap time. We'll see if he's on the greens. I believe he's on the greens if he's trying to cross the line. He is improving by 86 milliseconds, which makes him jump up into 5th. Now Duncan Falcon, very close to the barriers, like you couldn't get closer there. The Frenchman is now using all of his DRS power now, but he's got no ERS, so I believe he's into the pits. But we'll just make sure, yeah, he's into the pits. It's over a minute already, and drivers are going 59 seconds. So, who's next? Kyle Pulkinen definitely isn't. Leon Baumgarten in 10th. Nick Fenneman, who debuts in Ero F1 today, is currently sitting on P12. One of the drivers on the lap is definitely Josh Evans, and he jumps into 11th, 27.2, which is decent, but we know he can do better. It all depends on the final runs, which I believe will be some mud ones. We can see a 25 really well and truly today. I'm wondering if the McLaren of Baumgarten is on the hot lap. He's using 410, so I don't think so, but let's just make sure. Not really. He's 2 milliseconds down on Kalle Pulkinen, who is lacking fuel. And Alessandro Zanetti is lacking fuel as well, so basically drivers are putting the amount of fuel that is enough to get one single lap. But on the on lap you're going to struggle. Only 3 drivers are without a lap, and one of them will definitely not make a lap, and that name is El Cardia, who's crashed out on, I believe, entry into turn 5. Although Matthew Wrightson. I'm trying not to say Wrongson, as this is one of the signs of culture of Ero, as Matthew Wrightson was quickly called Matthew Wrongson. He's in the chat, by the way, by Jack Bailey, due to the reason of calling Jack Bailey Jack Harvey, and Jack Bailey responded with Matthew Wrongson. He's got a couple of fun facts, and he definitely speaks about the Death Corner, which he called Turn 4, which you can see in our YouTube short feed or TikTok. He's crashed it twice in the space of an hour. So that explains a lot. There were 2 exact same crashes. And Gallian about to cross the line, actually not cross the line, although definitely he's crossed the line of Sector 1, but about to start lap as more and more drivers are coming out of the pits for final rounds of qualifying. And as it's Jeddah, I believe this is one of the most exciting qualifying sessions of the season. Like, everything is literally on the limit. You cannot go below that, or you'll be really slow. And if you go just over the limit, you're basically into the barriers. No room for mistakes at this circuit. And Michael Gallian, going on his final run, is going to prove this. Although I would like if Michael Gallian just slowed down, because he's going to meet some massive bits of traffic there, as you can tell from into turn 4. Red Bull, Alfa Romeo, and a McLaren are all there, causing yellow flags. And Michael Gallian starts now. His final round of the qualifying. We'll see what he can do. Can he break into 26s? Currently sitting 5th in the championship. Could have got a podium if it wasn't for the last lap incident at Spanish Grand Prix. Brazilian Grand Prix is, by the way, the finale on 15th of October. Navigates these curbs really well. I'm not going to restart this. But I believe they'll be crying for this. Michael Gallian now going through his final lap today of qualifying. I'm sure that Le Pen will cry about restarting the session, like 100%. Because he's got a 5-place penalty for illegal blocking, which is allegedly a glitch, and nobody is blocking anyone. And Gallian's 3 tenths up. That places him on P5, but all depends on the final sector and the runs of the other drivers, as he has to navigate through traffic and almost makes it a 3 wide. Lago's still on the final spot on the grid, as Gallian is crossing the line. Less than a minute to go. And he's doing a 26.6, as I predicted, into 5th place. Now, next driver to cross the line is definitely not Le Penro. Moraes is just starting. But we're watching the championship leader being 2 tenths up and currently on provisional pole position. But mind that we might have a lobby restart because of the grid penalty. If it's deemed unfair and the other sides agree, well, easy. As the timer is now up. Nick Fenneman finishes the session on 9th place at best. 2 milliseconds out of Marco Botta, but Marco Botta still got a chance to cross the line and make a better lap. Francesco Lago, of all people, jumps into pole position. 26.1. We didn't expect that. We remember how he's won the Austrian Grand Prix starting from the last place. But he's now jumped into pole position just like that. Now Le Pen is about to cross the line. Morgan Mathieu into 7th. Exactly same time as Michael Gallian. Le Pen is about to cross the line. I believe this is provisional pole position. We've seen him improving 2 tenths to Sector 1. And I think he's going to 25s. He is going to 25s. He's done it again. He's gone on pole position. This guy is going to do his first challenges this year at least. He's done it last year already. But this year he's repeating it. At the very least. And he's been in the top 10 of the standings. Now Moraes is the one to end his lap. There's more and more drivers crossing the line. One of them is Kalle Pulkkinen. And Jacob Take goes up into 6th place. We've got also another Mercedes driver in the name of Duncan Falcon. Will he beat his team ultimate? No. As Diogo Moraes, well, he's happy with the 3rd. He's going to the pits. Evans goes 11th, now drops to 12th. Bugo Moraes retires. Looking for Panos, Nicolais Marcobotta, and Jan Goring. They are all not going to complete their laps. There is a chance we're doing a lobby restart. As you can tell, Le Pen got a penalty for blocking, and I've got a chance to watch it for myself. We'll see the footage of it. He's just been chilling on the middle of the straight, not blocking the Haas drive, and got a penalty for illegal blocking. Also, I need to show the end of the standings. There we go. Anyways, what I'm saying, we're doing Monza all over again. What do you want to know? What happened in Monza? At Monza, we basically decided to get a lobby restart of a grid penalty. I'm fine with it, by the way. It's a championship fight and it needs to be fair, and the game cannot just give penalties for illegal blocking just because nobody's been blocked by Arlena Penru, unlike the game says. So what you are going to see right now does not count and is not considered a part of racing. We've got red lights. And now watch the carnage. Unless the drivers will not listen. Just everyone, just crash. Yeah, thank you. That was brilliant. That was simply brilliant. As Lago does a donut, Panos Nikolaidis win. No, he will not win. How about Alcardia? He's going to win the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Panos Nikolaidis basically cannot crash. And he had to retire by clicking the button. 3 drivers remaining. Who's going to win this battle royale? Jacob Tucker or Nick Fenneman? Well, it's going to be Jacob. No, it's going to be Nick. Jacob, you're the last one. Complete the mission of retiring from the race as he crashes out with a spectacular fashion to get the 2nd place in the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Now, I need to restore the grid images, you know? But that was probably the funniest bit of all them. You know? Nick Vermeulen wins ahead of Jacob Tucker and Leon Baumgarten. Thank you for watching. I hope you will see each other next week on the Bahrain Grand Prix. Just kidding! We've still got a race to do, and I turned off my own Discord. Anyways, I have to wait for the... Panos, how did you manage to get a penalty in a race that lasted 3 corners? Also, 38.8 seconds. This is the record time. I mean, what a timing. What a timing. So, let me switch into the maintenance screen. Unless you want to watch the very exciting lobby. At least you'll have some cool music going on, you know. I love it. We'll await loading into the session, by the way. I hope this works, because I want to start by 35. It works, and everyone is in. Arcadia is already ready to start, you know. Anyways, that was probably another funny thing. Is it good content? It is good content! This is what we want to see. We can actually crash and nobody will accuse us of no driving standards. Because imagine having ones. By the way, I want to see who's caused the collision into turn 1, because that will be definitely discussed really... Did you know what I just realized? Moraish's tire just went off before he crashed with Lago. Nah, this was silly, simply brilliant. That was silly, but brilliant. I think this is what we should introduce as a rule every time we've got a blocking grid penalty and we have to restart the race. I didn't want to basically just make a boring restart. I wanted to bring some content, and there you go. This is content. How about let's just crash? Everyone crash out right now. And we've done it. Now I want you to know that, again, wasn't official part. We just did it on purpose. Everyone. And everyone should be banned from the league. But unfortunately, I allowed it. Now there's an interesting conversation in the PSF1 chat regarding the in-game music. Unfortunately, I will not post it because I don't even have it turned on, and I don't want to, you know. Can everyone tell me how is the soundtrack, by the way? I do believe Kaisa Huber, who cannot make it, and Maxim Rodriguez, who's got sudden connection issues, will not join. So we're basically left to a two-horse race. By the way, if you're wondering, two-horse race. What times do you have to do? Basically, new recruitment. I'm not going to do any swaps. Anyways, regarding what? Not really sure, but I believe the grid is set and done. Francesco Lago himself agreed on the restart as well, so I'm checking. Red Penru, Lago, it's going on well, fine. So, in short, what we can do right at this very point in time . I think we're about to start the race, you know. I'm just making sure everything is correct. We never know about the weather conditions of the race. Anyways, I'm just making sure everything is correct, and everything is indeed correct. Yup. I can switch back into the in-game screen, you know. About the recruitment, by the way. Basically, I will not do any changes this season when it comes to the lineup. So, we're having a race. This time, we can race for real. And no one is predicted to finish the race in turn 1. Although, this is Ero PSF1, which means everything can happen. We should do a full wet race at Jeddah, by the way. That would be 10 times funnier. Unfortunately, Baumgarten is boring and has just put it on full clear sky, which it's very unfortunate because we could have a race that could be 10 times as fantastic and funny as well. We're here for the content. Is Portugal going to win today? I don't think so, but Diogo will get a podium. Now, question is, how quickly will everyone ready up? Because it can last 30 seconds because someone forgets a setup and it just goes in straight into the action. But it also can last 15 minutes because every single driver has to make sure that everything is correct. I was going to pull out that trigger. Unfortunately, we'll not know because it doesn't show us. But it might be better if we actually could see this. So, Conmasters, if you're listening, put this in F124. But I know you can do changes in F123 as well, as you added penalties next to the driver's names in our heads-up display during F1 2020. So that would be fantastic if you added it as well. You know? Because we would love to make sure how much everyone has of a time penalty. How quickly will we get going? Because I'm genuinely excited for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's like the highlight of the season. Maybe not. But definitely the most chaotic race. So I will not be surprised if the two beautiful Williams and Red Bull drivers will suddenly end up without a tyre. But we'll see about it very shortly, as our red panel is back onto the pole position. We've got 5 red lights ahead of the drivers, and we are underway. Le Penro gets a good start, Lago as well, but Moraes, I believe, got a little bit better of a traction, and he's going on the outside of the Williams driver. Le Penro is on the lead of the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Moraes is ahead of Lago as well, so that really helps the leader of the championship solidify it possibly. But Diego Moraes knows there will be no team orders whatsoever because he also has to fight for the guaranteed seat. The gap is pretty big up there. There is no yellow flags so far, so this race goes clean so far. Surprising for Jeddah, if you're wondering, especially if you watch WOR there. But Le Penro currently half a second ahead of Moraes and half a second ahead of Lago as well, as Ludwig Starbeck is really close to Lago too. Let's see about the tire strategies, because this is the ones that everyone will ask for. There is basically a half for hards and a half for mediums. That's what was expected. Ludwig Starbeck is not mad to go on softs anymore. Very cool start. I hope this will go on through the rest of the race. How about the most chaotic race becomes the most boring one of them all? I don't want it to be boring. I want some excitement. And the excitement will be brought in by Red Bull drivers who are really close to one another, with Moraes sitting just 3/10 behind Aurélien Le Penroux. Less than 3/10 even at this point. There's a massive DRS train. Everyone is going to the DRS train. You can have a race in Jeddah without damages in the first lap. We'll see about that very shortly, in a couple of seconds, because we still haven't passed the pit lane entry, and Josh Evans is losing places, so he's probably got that wing damage. The Red Bulls are side by side. Le Pen sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, but it was lap 1, as Moraes is just having a look. Nick Fenneman is the only one to go to the pits, and Joshua Evans decided to continue. Ludwig Starbeck, ahead of Francesco Lago of all people, and it's almost a free wide to turn 4. But Ludwig Starbeck makes it stick into turn 4. No, don't think so. He's forced off a little bit there, but I believe he is legal. It is legal for him to go ahead of Lago. He was already ahead of Lago into turns 1 and 2. So I think that's legal, but he goes off with this curb that I told you about, and he's back on track, and he's out of the track, and now he's losing all of the place, and he might be behind his teammate, Morgan Mathieu even, as Morgan Mathieu indeed goes down the inside of Ludwig Starbeck to this happen and is officially ahead of his teammate. Now Ludwig Starbeck is side by side with Leon Baumgarten into the chicane, and I think this could end up in tears, but it didn't, surprisingly. It's Ludwig Starbeck ahead of Leon, and there is basically a 7 wide behind him, which can bring us a lot of action there. Zanetti side by side with Falcon. Now a little bit behind Falcon. Everyone is just going behind one another, as Alfa Romeo of Kalpukin almost spins round, loses a place to Mark Botta. Jacob Tucker also loses 2 places, but no yellow flags up there, so basically just everyone trying to save themselves of a predictable disaster. Luke Stabik will now have a task of either catching back up to Morgan Mathieu, who's now chasing down Nassim Asli, doing pretty well on his third F1 appearance, I believe, and he's up into 6th. Zanetti goes into the pits, so we've lost the second driver, we've got the second victim, third and fourth on in Jacob Tuck and Joshua Evans as well, who have to go to the pits to change their wings. Simple as that. Moraes is really close to Le Pen again. He was side by side almost in at the start of lap 2. We'll see how Tuck and Evans will do with later on in the race. We've lost 4 men off the train. Nick Fenneman decides one time is not enough, and I believe they haven't changed his front wing. Is this real, actually? Nothing is going on at the top at least until the DRS zone, so we can have a look at Nick Fenneman, but the directors of Jeddah Corner Circuit, can you raise up the speed limit into the 80 km per hour? And indeed, they didn't change his front wing. That was a very quick of a look, as we can basically watch at least half of the track from this point, which is pretty fantastic, as you can tell how close Moraes is to Le Pen, and Lago hopes for something to happen. We actually hope for level in points in before the championship finale between Le Pen and Lago. Now Moraes side by side with Le Pen, there is no fighting on the DRS. Moraes just goes for it and doesn't care about the detection point being right here. Le Pen now has DRS advantage and will probably re-overtake Moraes into turn 1. He needs to collect every single of the points if he wants to win the championship before the final round of the season, but he's happy to stay behind the Portuguese driver and his new teammate, because Enzo Tabani, well, he can race next week, but he's moved down to reserves. Panos Nikolaidis loses a place to Alcardia. Kyle Pukinen gains a place on Jan Goring, but we'll focus on the top 3, who have already gone away by like 50 seconds from the rest of the field. Moraes is the only one who can keep up with the pace of the top 2 right now. So in short, we haven't seen a single second of a yellow flag, if you're wondering. Like, not a single second so far. Ludwig Stabek goes to the place to Duncan Falcon. Joshua Evans decides it's one time wasn't enough, and he's decided to go in twice, and probably has got his wing change as well. If we can have Codemasters to change it so that you can fix your wing at any level of damage, unless you deliberately don't want to. Will Nick Fenneman go to the pits for the 3rd time, by the way, as this time our entrepreneur is very close on Moraes. And will Nick Fenneman be ahead of Josh Evans? Well, he will. Easily. Josh is the only driver with a penalty, by the way, as Le Pen very close on Moraes, but backs out of it. And we're starting to see some interesting tactics. This is the part of the race where we see the tactics, not the racing. Because, well, there is a DRS zone 50 meters from this point, so I might as well wait. And now Le Pen uses it to his advantage to take a lead of the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Francisco Lago watches it all, clean so far, so don't expect a crash. But everything can happen. This is Formula 1, this is racing after all. Even if it's virtual, it's still real. As I've seen Mengelian and Mathieu fighting for 4th place, and Le Pen and Mengelian stayed there. These 3 drivers are already chasing down Fenneman and Evans, which is surprising enough. I didn't see that after 5 laps. I've seen the fastest lap made by someone, and I believe that could be Jacob Taka. We'll see what kind of tires these drivers have. I believe that could be Zanetti, because he's on softs. Awaiting safety car. And as you can tell, Le Pen is basically wasting his ERS power because he's on 100%. He's decided not to use it all at all. Beautiful view, by the way. Not gonna lie. Unfortunately, it stopped. The top 3 are still really close to each other, and the gap between them and the Herengelen is already over 2 seconds, and I don't think it's changing anytime soon, especially with the fact that Lago has DRS, and Moraes goes into the lead of the Grand Prix as he's ahead of his teammate into turn 1. Margot Mathieu does the same on Engelian, losing them even a bit more time in order to catch up, although how is Mathieu already 1.6 seconds behind Lago. Elcardia fights Jan Goring, so we'll switch our attention to this thing. Jan Goring already completed it before we could look. But I bet that was cool racing, as nobody has damage. Back into the top though, as this is the most interesting point of this season as well. Probably a highlight of it. Lepenru, very close to Moraes, but he's happy to swap positions with him every corner, actually every lap. Due to the fact that he can basically use that not to let Lago close. Yellowfax and Gillian's out! And that goes out the full safety car. Bermelander is out for the first time this race. Well, I didn't see this coming. And what I can definitely do is check on his POV. Just making sure there is no sound, so you don't hear 10 curse words going on or advertisements of a new TV show, because we have to look at the footage. Definitely something happened there, and Michał will restart his career as a commentator. Well, he's 4 tenths ahead of Nassim and slides into the barrier, so there is nothing he could do apart from spinning out, but you can't blame it on driving standards, you know, he just crashed out. Nassim Aznit stays out, but Le Pen and Lago do come in, and this is just Los Angeles all over again, if you're wondering. Nah, no way. How is Elcardia illegally blocking drivers? What did you do up there? Really? Everyone is changing their front rings, by the way, because of the mess that has happened. What? So we got to the DNS already. You can predict in the poll I will be running how many drivers are going to actually finish. And I'm saying below 10. I'm saying 10 to 12, 13 to 14, or 15 or 16, because I don't think we're going to see all 16 finishes. Start poll. How many? This is the question to you all. There is a full safety car, by the way, so just informing you, there will be advertisements shortly, because revenue, you know. But this is the middle of the safety car, so you don't have to be concerned about it. Nassim Aznit is second, but don't let that deceive you, because check this out, no stops. And hard tires for both Moraes and Nassim. Now, the rules of Ero say you will not restart the race. Now, someone's going to argue. Well, the rules do not tell that you can restart during due to a grid penalty. But we're in the championship fight mode, so it's fair. Well, I'm not sure if I can restart this. Everyone is going to be so annoyed at me if I do it, you know? So, I prefer not to. Game is being game, and I will definitely look for improving some rules. By the way, hit the like button, press F to pay respects for Diaz's incredible race. So safety car is still out, but I believe we could be going crazy because everyone has rejoined the pack, you know, Ben Mailander. This is the question of the day, and the safety car is indeed on this lap. And Bern Mailander returns the pit lane. And unfortunately, Bern, for you, we don't want to see you on track again. We want this race to be safe, but I know it will not be safe because I see the chaos between places 8 to 10, and there is no space to give these places back. So, welcome 5-second time penalties. But Diego Moraes will lead this restart, and we'll see what he does as a reaction to Aurélien Lepenroux fighting for the championship, whilst Diogo is like 60 points behind. We know someone called Race King could bottle the 60-point lead of the championship, blaming on Abu Dhabi, but Diego Moraes, although that was really close from touching, if they didn't touch between him and Asnid. Moraes gets a okay restart, but he's just 3/10 ahead of Nassim, who might be looking to go for the lead of the Grand Prix, you know, at least for a bit of a moment. No overtakes so far, apart from Zanetti making 2 of them, even 3 of them, because Kyle Pulkinen, well, he's disconnected, and says Season 7 Saudi Arabia Grand Prix appears all over again, as this driver has been disconnected up there as well. Going for a podium, ladies and gentlemen, back then. Zanetti got 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flag. If he doesn't pit, he may appeal this. But at this very point in time, Lepenroux's not really fighting with Nassim. Nassim just lets him pass. Doesn't care about the fighting stuff. Both Alfa Romeos currently losing all the places. One due to disconnection, one due to possibly a collision or spinning ground. Depends on what happens. Now Lepenroux is going to go ahead of Moraes, and if so, how quickly? He's side by side with the Portuguese driver. He's ahead of the Portuguese driver, and Lago is ahead of Nassim Asnid as well. So that was cool action there. Mathieu is ahead of Nassim Asnid as well, as Lago is chasing down Moraes, but Moraes will block him with best of his efforts. Lago goes for a send down the inside and should take that second place. He is taking that second place from Moraes, and now it's all between the 2 drivers up front who are fighting for the championship. Lago needs to win this race if he wants to longer his hopes for the title, as Mathieu goes for a move on Moraes as well, so the decision to stay on the hard wasn't probably the best, as the top drivers in the top 3 are all on mediums, apart from Mathieu, who's on the hards. So we didn't see that coming, but Mathieu is trying to make a move on Moraes again, and there's a contact between these 2 drivers, squeezed into the wall a little bit. Mathieu tries to go ahead, another contact with Moraes. Moraes is now ahead of Mathieu. I don't know what's going on between these 2. This will definitely need reporting stuff after the race. But these 2 drivers have already lost over 2 seconds and ruined the chance for a second place at least for any of them. Nassim Asnid ahead of Mathieu. Mathieu losing all places in the world, so I believe something has happened there. Yellow flags are in Sector 2. Now we're back into the green as Ludwig Stabek goes ahead of Leon Baumgarten. The top 2 drivers still very close to each other. You know what? I'm actually excited for once for the race, and certain things happen that I will not go into detail. Back to the racing though. Moving on. I know I was quiet for the whole lap, and that was on purpose. But yeah, I just can't. I simply can't. As Lago makes a move on Le Pen, I think that's not happening just yet. He's happy to stay behind again. You could definitely hear something, and I don't really want this. Anyways, back to the racing. Let's switch back into the mode, and we'll see what's going on. As I've seen that Morgan Mathieu left the session, retired with the pits. Unfortunate, really, for him. And getting crashed on his own, and Mathieu got involved in a collision with him and Moraes, and I believe that Moraes could get a pen. Lago, by the way, does not use any DRS, and the gap between these two drivers and Duncan Falcon is already over 3 seconds, and I think that Ludwig Starbeck will decide not to care, because he knows he's got the pace for the second podium finish of the season. We'll go back to the top though. This is by far the more interesting one, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the championship fight actually. Luke Starbeck lost another 2 tenths on overtaking Duncan, but that's fine. He's back into the 3rd place, back into the podium, potentially a 2nd one this season. Nassim goes ahead of Moraes, and Moraes now side by side with Baumgarten into turns 1 and 2. This is really close between these two, but I think the McLaren driver will go just ahead because he's got the inside line. No, he backs out of any opportunities and lets Diogo pass, but I believe he's going for a move sooner than later, because you can tell how close he is to the Portuguese driver in the quick corners section. The championship fight continues, however, probably with no move soon, as both of the drivers have all ERS, full battery, nobody cares. As you can definitely tell, Lago is backing out of any overtaking opportunities. Ludwig Starbeck gained like 4 tenths on it. We'll see if Lago decides not to make any moves as well. Well, the only move here would be a send, and Lago doesn't really want this. Moraes is now side by side with Leon Baumgarten. And Marco Botta makes a move on Panos Nicolaitis. Now, Lago is close, but not close enough. These two drivers are currently idling. We'll see actual racing. Nassim Azzi, have you just been overtaken by 3 drivers? Well, really, he did. Because every of these 3 drivers, Zanetti, Baumgarten and Moraes, overtook him. And now, Nassim is only on the 8th place, watching the battle. Basically, 3 drivers went ahead of him, and I was confident that something's happened there, but it didn't. It was just the overtaking stuff. As Zanetti is chasing down Leon Baumgarten, really close to the McLaren driver. Not using battery though, but I believe he's going to make a move soon. Maybe, no, he's not making a move just about now. As Fenneman was replaced with Pulkinen, who I believe has joined back. Zanetti chasing down Leon Baumgarten, but I think the move should be happening, if not on this trade, then on the next DRS trade. It is happening as Duncan Falcon makes a move on Ludwig Starbeck as well. Zanetti ahead of Baumgarten, and now Moraes side by side with the McLaren. The move has not been done, but could happen sooner than later, although Baumgarten has got DRS as well. Diogo Moraes, if he wants a move, he needs to go down the inside, and he's going for it. No, just having a look. Both Aston Martins are side by side as well as Marco Botta and Nassim Asnit are in the middle of nowhere, if we can consider half a second between them in the middle of nowhere. The Aston Martin side by side. No, it's Pulkinen and Evans side by side, and they went away from it really cleanly. No issues whatsoever with this curb as well. I probably have seen this only once, although Panos almost lost it now. He's got the pace to at least fight for the points, you know. He's still considered a championship contender somewhat, with 66 points on board. But with a 10th place, with the top two are making a 1-2, he is pretty much writing himself out of it. Same as Engelian, who will not score points this race, because he's out already. Both Williams and Red Bull drivers not using any ERS at all, DRS as well. They're just chilling in the distance of 2 tenths from each other, but I think Lago, well, he's not going for it. Just give us some entertainment, punk. You can do it. Falcon now makes a move on Stabek again. These two at least can race. These two are actually racing. Ludwig Stabek overtakes Duncan into 3rd place. Baumgarten makes a move on Marco Botta. No, he also lost a place to Alpine earlier on. We didn't see that coming, but it has happened. Evans gets a 3-second time penalty of all people. And I believe it's not the first one of his. He makes a move on Nicolaides still though. We're on lap 16, by the way. This is over half of the race, well and truly over half of the race. It will be 35% of the real F1 race distance soon. And Le Pen and Lago used ERS for exactly 0 seconds. Unlike Stabek and Falcon. Falcon has 40% and Stabek got 60%. So Stabek got a bit of an advantage. Zanet probably used it all in order to get away from Diogo Moraes and probably has no chance of recovering this ERS amount. As Falcon makes a move on Luno again. Zanetti on the way to get closer to them. Every single straight, every single corner, he gets a little bit closer. Okay, he's losing time now, but that's the cost of these drivers having DRS. He's going to the pits. That's why. With Nassim as well. So the Ferraris are doing a double stack, and that double stack is going to be even harder because Zanetti goes to the garage and calls it a day. How is that the only collision was? Oh, there's an issue from Lago. Lago just went wide at the exit in the end of Sector 1 and lost all the time to Le Penru, which might be this little bit of a detail that gives Le Penru a win. Truly a massive thing has gone on right now. Now Lago actually has to use that ERS. Le Penru is using it as well in order to get away from Lago. So who's going to keep this one up? Is Lago going back in the ERS? Zanetti is going slowly in Sector 1, that's his AI, now it's gone. That's it in terms of racing for the Italian driver. Question is Lago going to actually close down on Le Penru? It all depends on the corner speed. And how quickly do you change gears? Le Penru is 1.1 ahead. Both of these drivers are actually using ERS, so the only thing that we had to wait for is one of the little bit of an error from one of these two drivers. As long as they were 2 tenths from one another, nobody had to use ERS. Now Lago uses it all and has the ERS loss compared to Aurelian, which might hand the Red Bull driver a win. As Ludwig Stabek makes a move on Duncan Falcon again. That was really close between these two drivers, and now Lago is back in within the DRS gap, but at the cost of almost all ERS. Le Pen going through this section of corners better than Lago. But still Lago is within the DRS, so he doesn't have to use it all now, unless Le Pen does. Really close between these two drivers. Still, Lago managed to clear up, to recover by half a second. Now he's using DRS, now he needs to use it all. Le Pen does not use, so it's a perfect opportunity for Lago to catch up a bit. And he does catch up a little bit. Using DRS again now. Closing down on the Red Bull. I think that he's not making a move just yet, but he might be going for it soon. To use his DRS disadvantage. Four tenths, 3 tenths, well, it's all back into the stalemate. And now any DRS regains may only be possible thanks to the safety cars. And there's a massive train from 5th to 11th. What is this Yogo Moraes doing in P12? This is just a bad strategy. As Marco Botta goes off there. Rejoins ahead of Baumgarten. A little bit of a contact. No damage though, I believe. Although Kalpokin was looking for a move. Baumgarten, a little bit of a weird line. Throughout turns 5 and 6. Another question. Lago is really close on Le Pen. And this time he actually has regained that bit of ERS. Same as Aurelian. So you can actually regain a lot of ERS here at Jeddah. And I will not be surprised if Lago uses it to his advantage. He uses DRS now. No, he's just happy to have slipstream of Aurelian. Now he's using DRS, but he's slowing down in order not to make a move. Another tactical bit of a play there from the Williams driver. Falcon really close to Ludwig Stabek. And Leon Baumgarten side by side with Marco Bottas. Will to will still into turn 2. Botta goes wide, almost spins round into Leon. But Leon makes it stick ahead of the Alpine. And it should be... No, he's not. Marco Botta fought back and got the place. Although he's gone off track there. Should be fine though. He's overtaken within the track limits. Marco Botta keeps himself back into the 5th place. Hasn't got points in Austria, and he was doing his F1 appearance. Now he's got the chance to actually get those points. As at this very point in time, he keeps himself in the 5th. No penalties so far. We'll have to wait for the verdicts, steward verdicts that have gone on. Baumgarten with a very weak line there. And that allows Panos Nikolaidis to get ahead of Pulkkinen. And they are side by side with Leon. Josh Evans also makes a move on Pulkkinen, so Pulkkinen lost 2 places. I've seen a yellow flag, and that is Nasi Maznid, who lost all the who lost time, not the places, fortunately for him. Now Leon will definitely fight back Panos, although Panos has got DRS. There's another 2 wide. Pulkkinen loses a place to Feneman. So I believe Pulkkinen might have got a bit of wing damage there. Is Gian going ahead of Josh Evans into 8th place, and Leon Baumgarten fights Nikolaidis again, who's got no ERS available for him almost. Makes a move into 6th place. Marco Botta happy to see that these drivers are fighting, because this keeps him on 5th for a little bit longer. Although the gap is just 7 tenths, and Panos Nikolaidis kept his 6th place. We've only got 4 laps to go after this one. So it's possible we may see action between Lago and Le Pen. Both the drivers on equal age tires. As Nasi Maznid, unfortunate for him, he was 2nd at one point of this race. Unfortunately drops all the way into 12th. and retires in the pits. So Arcadia, in case you're wondering, you can still finish 14th. Lago really close on Lependre, but not using full throttle, decides not to fire some risky shots. He's got 70% of ERS again though, and Lependre's got 84. So you can tell, you can definitely regain a lot of ERS here. Nasimat is out of the session. In case you're wondering, 4 of the drivers who are not racing have retired in the pits, and only 1 by spinning out by himself. Nicolaides almost making a move on Botta. Should be making it stick now though, if he wants to solidify the 5th place. The gap between this group of drivers is already like 9 seconds, so to the 4th place. So it's all between Starbeck and Falcon for the 3rd, as Panos Nicolaides slides his way into 5th. When Marco Botta makes contact with Baumgarten. Baumgarten now let pass by Goring. Goring knows that Baumgarten is a full-time driver here, and Goring isn't. And in case you're wondering, the amount of playing about the DRS between Ludwig Starbeck and Falcon was enough for for Lependre and Lago, was enough for these 2 drivers of Ludwig Starbeck and Duncan Falcon to catch up to Lago and Lependre. And they're now inside the DRS, so ladies and gentlemen, there is a chance that Ludwig Starbeck or Duncan Falcon wins this race. And Duncan Falcon's on the hard, so his tires might keep up for a little bit longer. No joking there. I will not be surprised if Ludwig Starbeck wins. Because he actually doesn't care about the tactics. He's going all in. He knows it's just 3 laps to go. And there's 4 drivers with a real chance of a race win here. And then there's a massive group to fight for 5th. Although Ludwig Starbeck just goes wide. There's a little bit of pressure going on. And he probably acknowledged that with this move. He's chasing down on Lago. Lago feels the pressure as well. Might go for a move on Lependre. No, but Ludwig Starbeck will into the inside to turn 1. And makes it for the 2nd place. This is his chance for the race win. This is really his chance for the race win. He almost got a podium here at Jeddah in Season 8. But unfortunately penalties for exceeding track limits dropped him from 2nd to 7th. Maybe it was a better decision to stick with Lago being on the 2nd and then just go for it on both drivers, because he's struggling and he needs to use that ERS a little bit. If he wants to stay within Lependre's DRS, he probably will, but it's going to be quite far. It's like 8/10. He cannot waste this energy. Now negotiate this 1 corner well, and we'll see a dramatic fight. We'll not have any more safety cars, so you have to go for it. Ludwig Starbeck, well, John Goring goes ahead of Panos Nicolaides, but we don't really care now. Ludwig Starbeck's on the court for the race win here, ladies and gentlemen. There is a chance he gets it. He's now closing down to Lependre, and now the yellow flags in Sector 3. That is the Alfa Romeo that was letting past drivers of Jacob Tucker. Now, Ludwig, please, use a little bit. Yes. Good job there, Ludwig. I'm really looking him for a race win here, because this could be the first time of his career. He's already got the podium. How about the race win, ladies and gentlemen? He's using the ERS power, so he probably does not care. He's going for the lead of the Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen. He's decided not to waste any energy. He's decided not to do any tactics. He's side by side with Lependre into turn 1 and takes the lead of the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Ludwig Starbeck, of all people, leads in Jeddah. But it's Lependre really close to him, so he will not give this race win away that easily. But that invites Lago to fight with Lependre as well. Ludwig Starbeck on course for a race win. This is not happening. Marco Botta fights with Leon Baumgarten for position number 6. And probably one of the drivers have been involved in an incident. No. I don't think they will have unscathed. Now, Lependre, can he retake the lead of the Grand Prix from Ludwig Starbeck, or will he be happy to just increase his championship gap by 3 points on Francesco Lago? The 3 points still mean that Lago would have to win the race and Lependre to DNF. There's a yellow flag. That is Josh Evans, unfortunately, as Diego Moraes jumps into ninth. But Duncan Falcon on Lago, this is things already. The reserve driver and the Haas driver are fighting for the racing and the podium respectively. The reserve driver in the name of Duncan Falcon, who's replacing Jukfuma today, is actually fighting for the win here. And Jacob Tucker got the first person view for it. Now Ludwig Stabek will lose the DRS on Le Penru. Le Penru got the DRS, now loses the race win, but he's using all of the power he's got to at least keep himself really close. Will go down inside, make a ascent side by side with Lago, and Lago should make it stick ahead of Stabek. He does. Falcon goes for the third place. We're not done there. The gap between Lago and Le Penru is just 6 tenths, 5 tenths. Though Lago has got a bit of dirt here, he can use that to his advantage to keep Le Penru under pressure. And now Ludwig Stabek has gone probably one lap too early on Lago and Le Penru. It's the final lap of this race. Le Penru has got that bit of ERS advantage. It all depends on these two final corners if Lago will be able to go for a move on Le Penru. We could see Ludwig Stabek go for a race win, but it's Le Penru currently leading, again by 7 tenths, so it wasn't certain. He lost the lead on the second lap to go. Actually 2 laps to go. Lago uses of the power he's got, but I don't think it could be enough, although he's just got half of a second of a loss. Le Penru is using it all as well, so they'll be out of ERS on the final straight. Lago chasing down Le Penru will probably wait for DRS, although his side by side wheel goes down the inside into the final corner, and that could bring him the race win, although we could see a side by side finish, ladies and gentlemen, and they're indeed going to finish side by side. Who's going to win this one? It's going to be Le Penru, but how many? It's going to be less than a tenth of a second. It's actually 119 milliseconds, but wow! The amount of action of these two final laps between Lago, Le Penru, Falcon and Stabek. Also Falcon is on the podium. We went from Ludwig Stabek winning to Lago winning to Le Penru winning. That scent was just not enough for Lago to take the race, but simply wow. We are really close from seeing Ludwig Stabek win. Legit. And Ludwig Stabek got a wing damage. So this guy was on course for racing with a wing damage. I know I've went silent, but by the way, stay in because that's going to be a short conference, you know. But that was brilliant action around Jeddah. As we've seen the top two being the top two, and then Duncan Ludwig was leading the race in 9 kilometers to go. A 5 DNFs, by the way, but 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all in the pits. Although Aladini Ercardia got it for illegal blocking. Michael is legit the only collision of the race, and then we've got like 4 or 5 wing damages. Surprisingly clean from Jeddah. Because if you're wondering, if you've seen World Online Racing, basically everyone crashed that. And these are the esports drivers. And these are, okay, amateur esports drivers, let's be honest. It's not like, are they paid? Not sure. Anyways, conference starting soon. I believe Le Penru is about to join us. And he's officially in. We're awaiting Lago and Falcon as well. Anyways. This is how the championship fight should look like, you know. I'm just telling you on that. There you go. Everything's set. You know, just a tenth of a difference. A little tenth decided about the race win. And that tenth could decide the championship, you know. Anyways, welcome to the short conference thing that we're doing post-race. So, and we've got, at the very moment, Lago and Le Penru, who joined us for this thingy. And yeah, what can I say? You two can unmute yourselves, you know?
Yo yo.
Yo 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 yo. Wow, simply a tenth of a gap. No, none of you using ERS until Lago went wide. Then you've drained your old battery, and then you've drained your battery all over again after saving it for a couple of laps in the 2 final ones. And also, we've got 3 different leaders in the 2 final laps, you know. That was race and a half. And surprisingly clean from Jeddah, you know?
Yes.
Yes.
Now a question to you if you've got any comments going on. That is now up to you if you want to say anything about the race, starting with Le Penru. Then there you go.
Yeah, that was a nice race. Congrats to Francesco. It was a nice one. Yeah, the safety car came really early, so I think that putting the softs was the right strategy. But at the end, I was the 10 last lap. I wanted to save the tires because I would have finished at 80%, so big chance of puncture. So I just decided to slow down to save my tires for the last couple of laps. And at the end, I think it was my God, I don't remember his name. Let me check. Ludwig, I think, overtook Francesco. So at that moment, I decided to push a bit to create a gap because I think that Ludwig didn't had so much ERS, but he passed me again, and I just decided to take him back at the very last lap. And yeah, during the first corner of sector 3, the fast chicane, I was like maybe 6 or 7 tenths to Francesco, so I thought myself, okay, I'm gonna win this one. And then I saw a big rocket coming to me, and I just played the GRS game, and I saw Francesco was low battery. He was flashing, so, and I saw him also big slide, so I had like 25% ERS at this moment, so it was that's how I get the win on the line.
Moving up into Francesco, late sand, like the final corner, I thought, yeah, this is going to be a side-by-side finish. It almost was. 1/10 of a second separated you from the win. And I believe this will decide the championship later on if it goes to the decider.
Yeah, I mean, the race was pretty boring, let's say. Then I made a mistake because I was too bored. I was like chilling. I was a bit too much distracted, so I just went over the curb and then got back into the DRS. Then I was also slowing down a lot to save the tires because I saw we were going to be like 75-76% to the end, so I didn't want to risk a puncture. But then the Ludwig and Duncan catched up, so the fight got so much more difficult because Ludwig surprisingly overtook both of us. I expected him just to stay behind and wait for the last lap, but then he overtook me, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna win this because Aurelian's gonna have 2 guys behind him. But then he also overtook him, and then he pretty much sold the race because Aurelian overtook him on the straight and I had to go around the outside of turn 1, so I lost so much time. Then the car was sliding so much because we had like 75% rears or something. So it was really hard to stay in 7/10s. Then last corner I managed to overtake, but yeah, I went in too deep. Probably should have upped my differential a bit, but yeah, live and learn. It was a good fight. GG to Aurelien and Duncan for the podium.
GG's.
And we're moving into the sensational third place finisher in the name of Duncan Falcon. Now, I know what you've said to me on the private message, so in case you need, you can ask Aurelian if he can translate what you're saying, and if you're comfortable with it. But can also go full English. You've got the podium, which I didn't expect, to be honest. How about you?
Oh, hello. Uh, uh, it's difficult to speak English, sorry.
Tu veux que j'essaye de traduire?
Ouais, je veux bien, ouais, s'il te plaît.
Vas-y.
En gros, genre, j'ai essayé de gérer toute la course vu que j'ai vu que j'étais en hard comparé à vous en médium. Et du coup, à la fin... Ouais, vas-y, vas-y.
He was on hard, so he tried to go until the end. Vas-y, continue.
Et du coup, à la fin, quand j'ai vu que vous battiez, j'ai essayé de tenter des moves, mais j'ai pas réussi. Et après, je suis resté derrière tranquillement, parce que j'avais plus de RS.
Ok. He saw me and Francesco battling in the front. She tried to make some move, but he decided to stay a bit behind because he didn't had much ERS.
And
C'est bon.
wow, what also surprised me is that Francesco and Aurelian were just busy chilling with each other. Francesco not using any overtaking opportunities, not using any ERS. And then there's Duncan and Ludwig, who are fighting and do not care about it. And then they gain from it to be able to take the race win on the 2 final laps.
Yeah, I mean, we were like a second off the pace at least. So
Yeah.
when I saw the gap coming down, I was like, I do not want to lead this, so I just stayed behind and hoped to be able to stay P2 till the last corner. And yeah, we were just saving tires because the mediums couldn't quite make it to the end if we just pushed 100%, I think.
Yeah, I saw you did a mistake in the curb, I think. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, maybe I can push now. And the gap was like 1 second, 1.1, and I did a big mistake into turn 1.
Yeah, you went straight into turn 1, so I
Yeah.
got back in.
So it was basically over, so it was just chilling after that.
Well, simply just wow, the title race is on the deciding stage, as the next week we're having the Bahrain Grand Prix, usually a season opener, but it isn't a season opener this time. It's in the middle of the season, and this track also can deliver great racing and last corner overtakes, so I'm excited to see what is going to happen sooner than later, because this championship fight, it can be changed by one little bit of an event, and it's truly on now. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, so hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next week. We are officially in the title fight. Goodbye.